And why am I walking in a park and talking about synthesizers, you might ask? Well, why not? COVID's lifting, the world is opening up again, so we're going to get out and we get to play outside again. Yay! Power! We'll be talking about synthesizer leads, the ones you need to make melodic techno. I guess that's today's video. Let's go do it right now. Yo, what's up? I'm in a little kitchen and thank you for checking out yet another video. Now, if this is your first time here, don't hesitate to click subscribe. You'll be notified whenever I upload a new video, but that's when you click that bell icon as well. You'll be kept in the loop. You won't miss out on anything. I'm looking forward, man. I really feel energized because I'm going to be working on my live set today again. Now, in the next coming weeks, I'll see if I can show you a little bit of that process as well. If I'm going to perform, I've got some shows coming up. One show is in Groningen for Paradigm. Now those guys are actually the coolest outfit. You know, I love to perform there, so that would be good. And then the second one is going to be the achtually festival. That's Dutch for backyard. And it's really some sort of a backyard. I've got a cool stage that I'm hosting. I've got Colijn there, I've got Holt there, I've got a few big name cats as well, some up and comers. I'm looking forward for that. So I will take you with me and shoot some of that B-roll so you can see that it's not me just talking to my records that I usually do in my studio, but I'm actually performing. COVID's lifting, the world is opening up again. Luckily, because come on, I was about done, man. Now, why are synthesizer leads so important? I mean, think of it this way. Usually when you got a conventional pop music or whatever music, there is a vocalist or a soloist involved. In classical music, a violin will come to mind. In rock music, it'll be the lead guitar. Jazz music, you think about a saxophone. So you can go on and on. But when it comes to dollars music, the way we do it, especially if you're doing electronic dance music, there is not so much a vocalist involved, but you do need something to create a melody that people will pick up on. Synthesizer leads, you have to categorize them in a different way. It's about making music. So it is about structuring which ingredients go where. Obviously, if you're making dollars tracks and you're not using a vocalist, it would mean that certain things are there to create the groove, create the beat, and other things are there to make a melody so that it sticks out, so that people remember what they were listening to. Hence the word lead. It'll lead your brain into a melody, and that can be a very commercial, catchy melody. It can be something that just modulates. Something needs to just go in the middle, otherwise it's just accompanying background music, so to speak. Drums will go for the groove, the bass will lay down the lower frequency, but the bass and the beats, those two work together. So you can imagine that synthesizers, if you're like me, the synthesizer is the go-to machine to just like get that done. Now, I will go for the Model D today. It actually looked like it's going to rain, so, but the weather was still nice. It feels like summertime. So I'm in Dordrecht at the moment, and I'm going to the studio, so I'm walking around, and I was thinking, well, I've tapped on it already. You know, I've talked about leads, I've talked about synths, and I've talked about a lot of things, but you have to understand that still I get a lot of questions when people asking me, okay, I understand why you would use a synthesizer to do a specific thing, but how do you figure out what synth does what? And that boils down to the frequency spectrum, or in my sense, the richness of the transients I can hear on the sounds. If a sound is very thick and round, I'll prefer to have that do lower frequencies, because the low frequency content is not something you'd like to compromise on, because when you get to a venue or a club, it will get exaggerated. It will become louder, and if there's any flaws on the sound, you will eventually hear it. And that will take out of the sound, because as you might know, I'm a firm advocate of not really EQing or compressing the sound. I would love to have that be done rather naturally. And if you pinpoint the sounds, if you pick the sounds well, you really wouldn't need to EQ or compress the sound. In my mind, I'll just get lost in the sound, and every performance will sound different. So it's not, for me, it's not ideal. The Model D, Behringer Model D. I mean, every week on my Discord community, for some reason we are talking about what this whole doorless thing is and why we think Behringer are either good or bad, but you can hate all you want. I mean, they did a good job on the Model D. Leave a comment. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. Let me know what you think about it, all right? And why am I walking in the park and talking about synthesizers, you might ask? Well, why not? Follow along to my live set, which is somewhere close. I'm getting there eventually. So I'll take you there and let's go over that process, shall we? Right, gang, so it's pretty simple. In the box, I've got like the TB03 over here, the Model D, then I've got the Tetra, I've got the Micro Monster, which is over here. I've got the Octatrack. Octatrack is linked up to the Akai MPC Live, and then there's the Minitaur. Over on this side, I've got the Arturia Analog Factory Experience. I'm not using any plugins. It's just a cool, small form factor keyboard with like big keys on it, which is what I like. It's an old school keyboard that I do use. I do love it. And then there's the Innovation Launch Control that I've got mapped to the Akai MPC Live. I've heard you've asked me to do a video on how the mapping works with the Akai. That'll come up in a future video. Today though, I want to take you into the world of the leads. Now, as I explained in my little walk around town, why leads are important. It's because when you make doorless music, it's different from when you're in a band, and the task is very simple. If you're the drummer, you know you and the bass player are good mates. When you're a percussionist, you and the drummer are good mates, and in turn you make up the whole rhythm section together with the bass player. Now when it comes to pinpointing what does what exactly, it is very important to figure out, okay, what is it that I want to do with what synthesizer? In this case, the Minitaur and the Model D, and you can argue maybe the TB03 can pretty much do the same things. Even the Tetra, if you go in deep, they'll do the same things. Well, you can say the Micro Monster's got bass notes as well. That's what I'm talking about. But then again, since this is a digital machine, you can hear it slightly. So when it goes into deeper territories, I think you can hear it, so it sets itself apart. So I would rather not use the Audio Thingies Micro Monster to play bass notes, not if I've got like big bad boys like those ones over here. Okay, now the thing with the Model D is, and I spoke to my good mate Reinhold about it, the thing is that when you get it at first, the first thing you do is play bass with it. I've been playing bass with it for the longest time. I mean, if you watch my channel, you follow it, you know that. But recently, a shift in my adaptation of certain frequencies, me using different loops, has steered my brain into, well, relating to stuff that I heard from when I was younger. So in the 80s, there were a lot of like disco loops and that kind of stuff. So since I used those on my Octatrack, all of a sudden now, I'm starting to relate that to tracks that I know. So I'm starting to make different things with the Model D, which is cool. So, and the Model D is a reissue of the Mini Moog Model D. That's why they call it the Model D, blatantly. And whatever you think about Behringer, this I think is a synthesizer they got right. They got absolutely right. This is the machine. Now, having said that though, what is the beat today? Let's see. I think it's, yep. Keep in mind that I've got a sample and hold sample on the first of the bar. There's more things going on. So this is my drum computer, as you can hear, and it's all mapped out over here, right? So something's playing here. I can hear it. I still need to fix that. There's a drum roll that I got on mapped out here. There's mute over here, but that's not working at the moment. I'll figure that out. Preferably for Saturday, because I've got a gig coming Saturday. I need to sort it out. Anyway, so my drums are here. So you can hear that not even everything. So the faders are mapped out to play the drums, or at least to have the levels of the drums. Because I don't want to be menu diving. Right now I'm in the grid mode. Then you need to go out of the grid mode. You go to menu. You have to go to pad mixer. Okay, that doesn't work if you're on a MIDI channel. So then you have to go out of the MIDI channels again and go in. And you have to go to pad mixer. Ah, here are the pads. Cool. Then you have to just steer the mixers here. Then you have to go to pad mute. And now you can mute pads and turn them on. No, We don't want that. So what we want is you go to the main page here, you go to menu, then there's MIDI control, you hit MIDI control. When you hit MIDI control, there is a tab called MIDI Learn, and now when you press the Learn button and you tweak a knob, which is not what I'm not gonna do right now, it will jump to that specific knob that you have selected. I mean, pretty much like the way Ableton works, but it's cool to have it on the Akai MPC Lab. Now I've mapped up my drums to do exactly that. So now I've got my kick on track 1, hat on track 2, closed hat on track 3. Now I've deliberately chosen those samples. Why? Because those are the samples that work the best, so that you don't need a lot of extra samples. So as you can hear, this is just a kick, which is just a regular kick. But then I've got a 909 hat, because I think that's house music right there, and a 808 closed hat, because I think that if I'm using this, it's more of a melodic techno kind of vibe. And you get to put some other stuff in the beat as well. Now I have to tell you, there's more stuff coming into this groove when I'm producing it, but for the moment, this is the backbone. So let's just work with this for a second, because it's all about this bad boy over here. I don't think that I have deleted the notes on there as well, have I? I'm so unprepared for this Model D. No, actually, I haven't. I haven't. Nice, that's reverb on there. Now the reverb comes from the Octatrack. If you don't know, the Minitaur goes into one output on the Octatrack, the Model D goes to another, and then the Tetra goes to the remaining 2 inputs. So I can sum it, and that will go out onto a mixer over on the far side, which is off camera. Right, so now we've got everything done. These are my drums. Please keep in mind, it's still a work in progress. But for the example for today, I've got my drums, the top loops, structured to the Octatrack, because in the Octatrack I just can do different things. I think it's a really cool machine. You can map stuff away to the crossfader, so that can be bit jittering, it can be reverb, it can be delays, whatever you want, and you can just wash it out, which is a trick that I do. So if I want to make transitions, I'll just wash something out, open it up, and then the delay keeps hanging out, and that's cool. Then the TB03 is there for a catalyst, so like this. It's nice because it's got delay on this thing as well, so you don't have to bring an extra pedal. So I want the synths to do multiple things. Okay, can you get on topic? Yes, I can. Let's do that now. Okay, sample and hold, because I need something to drive the groove. So for me to get inspired, just this drum beat, I've listened to that for like over 3 decades. So I need something to get me in the zone. And what is that? Okay, so let's do some crazy talk. What does this remind you about? For me, I'm not sure, but it feels like I'm on the water maybe. So this in mind makes me think like, okay, I need something to go, that's gonna be my root note. I've got a couple of drums on tracks 2, 3, and 4. It starts on 2. You don't hear it because I need to change that loop out, because I used it on a few other tracks already, so I will swap that out. And then there's a drum loop beat that's really making this stuff a little bit 80s, which is the kick out disco loop here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is lay down a bass line, because for me that's very important to lay down a bass. Now my bass comes from the Minitaur this time. Let's see if we can find something. Yeah, I guess I'm liking that. Now the trick is to mellow this out a little bit more, shorten the notes. Save it. So, yeah, that's saved now, which means like the glide and the release button, if you hold them simultaneously, you can save the preset. Now this is nice, but at the same time, to get it a little bit proggy, let's put a little bit of reverb on that. So on my track 6, which is that one, we'll go in, no, track 6, yeah. there, track 6. Right, so we'll go in effect 2 because the reverbs are over on track 2. There's already reverb on there, and it's already mapped because I've copied it from the last track over, so it's already mapped that if I'm now opening up this, that's a little bit too much. So what I will do, see, I'll put the mix on 10 and put the timing around 75. Cool. Now let's go into my Model D and see if we can, which is a different track here. The Model D is over here. Ooh, man, I'm liking this. So, go in, Model D. Now you want those leads that... Oh, stop it. Let's stop everything. Let's take the reverb off first so that we're assured that we can just start from scratch, all right? So there's no reverb, you can hear. Now I can hear a lot of stuff going on, which means there's noise on there. I've also put like the overload button on. Now let's start with the first of the 3 oscillators. There's nothing playing. Overload. White noise. We'll get to that later. Now what we want... Stop hitting the keyboard like an idiot. Okay. Now what we want is the first oscillator to go on the middle of the 3 square waves. Yeah? The second oscillator, turn it on, can go on the saw ramp up. Now I'm playing high notes here, so it's pretty high up, so now this yeah, getting there. Now the third one, yeah, there you go. So I'm making shorter notes, which means that the attack is not all the way at the start, because I don't want this sound to sound too robotic, which is what it does right now, but I don't want that, so I need... Yeah. See how this works. Record it 2, 3. Damn it. Akai, can you please fix this? Because I don't want to zoom in to... Well, I have the notes on my nose before I can delete them. Thank you. There you go. Okay, nice. Okay. So I'm going to put some reverb on this bad boy. I take the reverb off the bass a little bit because that's not necessary to open up as well. So. Nice, too. Now that's how I just make an accompanying beat, accompanying melody. Now it's not like rocket science, but the thing that I do like about it is that instantly something will happen. Now can we change this sound completely to something else? I think we can. Let's save this, for instance. We'll mute it here. What we're going to do is get another track going. One. Transpose it. Yeah, nice. So we'll play that. Nice. Do I like that? I guess. Did I record it? Yes, I did. Now let's see. Put the sequence on. I've changed it completely. Now I've gone on with the third oscillator. I'll put the square wave all the way to the top. I'm going to overload the sound a little bit, which is nice, because usually it was like you have to route the output into the input to get that done, but internally Behringer has done it already. We'll put some white noise on there as well. So you can hear the white noise there. I'm going to detune everything a little bit. And I want to get a little bit of that bell sound, so the attacks need to be very short, and I'm going to play very high notes high up. Nice. How will this work with drums? Okay, now that I have this, I think I can do a better job on the bass line, because now I think that this lead doesn't really need to just go into crazy territory. Let's see if we can change. Now, that's model. D2. Make sure that we got that going as well, yeah? So what we're going to do is go in, get this bass like this. That's a little bit too simple, so we need something a little bit more groovy, I guess. Yeah, going a little bit funky. Here we go. Whoa! Yeah, I like that. So what I'm going to do is take this out. I'll do 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Now play some cool notes. Okay. There you go. Okay, now what we're going to do is get more sounds going, obviously. Well, I'm not Mark Rebier, but I'm getting there slowly, you know what I mean? What have we got? Play this. Nice. I think we're going to go for my Micro Monster. Yep, take the strings out. All of them. Long notes go. Maybe turn it down a little bit. Well, I've tapped on it already. You know, I've talked about leads, I've talked about synths, and I've talked about a lot of things. But you have to understand that still I get a lot of questions when people asking me, okay, I understand why you would use a synthesizer to do a specific thing, but how do you figure out what synth does what? And that boils down to the frequency spectrum, or in my sense, the richness of the transients I can hear on the sounds. If a sound is very thick and round, I'll prefer to have that do lower frequencies, because the low frequency content is not something you'd like to compromise on, because when you get to a venue or a club, it will get exaggerated. It will become louder, and if there's any flaws on the sound, you will eventually hear it. And that will take out of the sound, because as you might know, I'm a firm advocate of not really EQing or compressing the sound. I would love to have that be done rather naturally. And if you pinpoint the sounds, if you pick the sounds well, you really wouldn't need to EQ or compress the sound. In my mind, I'll just get lost in the sound, and every performance will sound different. So it's not for me, it's not ideal. Now, links to the equipment that's noted in the fold below. That means that if you see the page and the page says show more, then click more. The page will open. You'll see affiliate links to all the gear that I am using. And yeah, go check it out. The music you can find on Bandcamp. I've not been so active on there because I didn't really think that the jams I was doing were like, whoa, amazing. I mean, they're cool, but still trying to tweak the sound around a little bit more. And I'm working on a new live set that needs to be finished like next week, because I'm doing Paradigm. Oh, I'm looking forward for that gig. That's going to be amazing, but it means that obviously I'm not going to stick those tracks out there as yet. You know what I mean? So be patient, but there's a lot of music on there already. If you want to find out what the tracks are all about, what I'm doing, head out there and go and check that out.